day out. And the thing that I really love about it is because a lot of times if you watch a cooking show, they'll have somebody out with like this $20,000 freezer and the top line gas stove. And you go, that's not my kitchen. She comes here, she sets up a 6-foot folding table, throws a burner up on top, maybe a blender, and she does it right here. So the point is she wants you to learn that you can just take these skills home and cook healthy at home. So that's what's going on with that. Every second Friday of the month, we are all out at Merritt Square Mall for Walk with a Doc. This is every time you go to the doctor, what does the doctor say? Get out and move more. So this is a program we do under air, 9 a.m. every second Friday at Merritt Square Mall. We meet up with our friends from ARP Florida, and there's a group, 20, 30 people, 40 people. We'll walk around the mall, and it's led by a doc. So the point is people can go up and ask the medical professional a bunch of questions while they're walking around, and it's a great kind of social club. There's door prizes. It's fun. Don't miss it. That same day in the afternoon, second Friday, which I believe is August 10th, we will be back here for our Senior Planet, or August 14th. I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong date. August 14th is the Senior Tech Talk with Bree Prentice, and so that's a regular thing that happens here at 1 p.m. on the Friday afternoon. And don't forget, third Wednesday, we do Java with Joe. That's Joe Downs from the Brevard County Sheriff's Office, and this is really becoming a fun thing. What do you do when you have a cop over? You have donuts and coffee, right? So we have a little morning social, and we get to hear a lot of great cop stories. But Joe is the guy who runs the Operation Lifesaver program. So what he's doing is he's keeping us safe as seniors throughout Brevard County. He gets involved in some really complicated cases, and because he knows how to navigate that whole system, he is usually able to make a difference for seniors. He's a great resource for us, but he shares his time at this event, which is presented by Rhodes Law. So come on out and join us 10 a.m. on the 19th. And following that, we're going to have fun with a guy named Peter Indorf and some of his colleagues called Trash or Treasure. If you've ever seen like the what do they call it, the road show where they, on PBS, where they're looking at people's stuff and going, did you know you had a Renoir here? You know, I don't know that this is more like coins and things like that, but this is a fun thing. He's taking us around to a lot of assisted livings in the community, and this is your chance to go through that drawer where you've got these coins that you're not sure if they're collectible. He was talking about all kinds of memorabilia that they're able to look at, and he's bringing a team with him. You have to make an appointment. So this is not like it's an open event. You just tell Nancy, and she'll tell you what times are available. You can set a time. He wants you to bring in your stuff, and they're not going to buy it. He's just going to help you assess what you've got. Like I know I inherited, for example, a stamp collection, and I want to sign up and see, like, is this worth anything, or is this just a bunch of random stamps? You know, I don't know. So that would be cool. So that's Trash or Treasure. That will happen on Wednesday. Again, the same date, August 19th, as Java with Joe. So Java with Joe is at 10, and then we'll move into Trash or Treasure. And we are full swing into the Helping Seniors car raffle season. So this date I want to be sure you have on your calendar. That's October 25th, Sunday afternoon. Please plan to spend your Sunday at the museum with us at the American Muscle Car Museum. That is when somebody picks their choice of a brand new car. We have the raffle tickets. This is our big fundraiser for the whole year. And so whatever you help us do helps us keep this going in 2027. And whatever we don't do, that means we can't do. So when you get a ticket, one ticket is $25, 5 is $100. There are a lot of people choosing to do the Friends of Joe package, which is a $200 donation. You get 10 tickets, and then you get a lapel pin that says Friend of Joe, and you get listed on our Helping Seniors website. And it's just a fun way to help us keep this charity going. Increase your odds. Remember, each ticket that you get is admit one to the museum. So if you get 10 tickets, you can pass them out like candy to your neighbors. You can still be the winner of the car, but you can be a great person in your neighborhood for bringing other people to the museum and let them have fun. And again, this year, we're calling it Sunday at the Museum because it's a kid-friendly event. We call it like a fall festival since it's the last Sunday in October. And so Bill Antonetz, our car show friend, is inviting like a couple of hundred of his drivers out to bring their cars out. And he's telling them all, fill up those trunks with candy so the kids can walk around with a bag and collect candy and go home happy too. And, you know, if they want to dress up in costumes, that's fine. But again, it's Sunday, October 25th, 2026 at the American Muscle Car Museum. And Nancy has tickets, I have tickets, Kara, you will probably have tickets. We'll figure, everybody, this is all hands on deck. Help us sell tickets. If you know people who should get tickets, help us do this. This is our 10th annual car raffle, and literally the reason Helping Seniors can keep doing what we're doing. I don't think we could do it without AJ's help. AJ Hires, the car dealer who makes this possible, and then also the help of Mark Pylock, who owns the American Muscle Car Museum, who's been kind enough to donate our grand drawing event every year now for 10 years. So we really appreciate him. Last thing I want to say before we get into the program, let's go sailing. We're going out January 9th. This is a fundraiser that helps us. We're trying to build up the Helping Seniors Foundation. This is a cruise opportunity. We go out January 9th from right here in Port Canaveral, so you don't have to get on an airplane or do anything. You just have to, and literally the way Chris Morse, who's on our board of directors, but also a special needs certified travel agent, the reason this works well is because you get to go on the cruise ship with your travel agent. So if you run into anything, you go, hey, Chris, call the captain. I need whatever, you know. And so it's a fun sailing, 7-night sailing, and it's right out of Port Canaveral. So you don't have to mess with airplanes. Just get somebody to drop you off at the port. And the way Chris prices everything, he does it completely, collectively. And if you look in Senior Scene, I think there's a ad that has the pricing. But I love the way that Chris prices this, because a lot of times you'll see an internet ad, and it says, oh, you can go cruising for, you know, X dollars a day or X dollars a night. And you start clicking through and, oh, but we got to add taxes. Oh, we got to add a drink package. Oh, you want Wi-Fi on board, don't you? Oh, you want travel insurance. And by the time you finish adding all those things, the number is nothing like what you started with. So the whole point of the way Chris prices it is he throws everything in there, and you say, well, can I go any cheaper? I don't drink. So you could take off the drink package. So he works it backwards. And so, but he wants to make sure that you have every amenity available. And still, when you see the price that's listed, it's very, very affordable. January is a great, affordable time of the year to go sailing. It's also when everybody from up north loves to come down and experience Florida winters, which are great. And we get to go to the private island, Ocean Cay this time. We get to go to Nassau, Bahamas, and we get to go to Cozumel and Costa Maya in Mexico. So it's a great itinerary, a lot of fun, beautiful ship. We're on the MSC Grandiosa, where we were for our 7th annual cruise in January. So hope you guys will get information and come with us. So, with that, I am so excited to introduce somebody who's becoming a great friend of Helping Seniors. She's helped us a lot. If you were here last week for the when we were doing our caregivers conference, I don't have a slide for it, but I was talking with Jennifer Barton, and we have a date now. So you guys are hearing this like for the first time. It's going to be on November 19th. So that's a Thursday. We're going to basically follow the same thing. It's 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Because everybody really gave us good feedback and said this was so helpful. But it's Thursday, November 19th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And the first person I asked was, Angelika, will you come back and help us if your calendar will let us? Because it was really great. It was a panel discussion. If you weren't here, it was a panel discussion that Jennifer Barton of Seniors Helping Seniors moderated. And what made it so powerful was it wasn't like I'm up here pontificating at you right now. It was like it was a group discussion. So somebody in the audience would raise a hand and say, okay, this is what I'm going through. And somebody else in the audience would say, oh yeah, I had that and this is how I did it. So it was real collaboration, and it was just a good day with it. So thank you if you were here, and please come back when we do this in November. Like I made the comment when we started this, we want to do 2 of these a year because I liken caregiving to being thrown in the deep end of a pool. Like you just got thrown in the deep end of the pool, so now you're trying to figure out how to swim yourself, but you're having to help somebody else not drown at the same time that you're trying to not drown. So it's very complicated work. But Angelika's background is that she is with IFAS. Okay, I'm finally learning how to say this. So she is an expert instructor, and boy, when she starts teaching, it's great. But her expertise is about mental health and well-being. And she's going to tell you about a special program coming up toward the end of August, right back here, that you can become mental health certified, which I know Nancy and I are going to take the course because we're always about learning as much as we can so that we can be the best blessing in the community that we can. So with that, let me introduce you to Angelika Keane and present the golden clicker.
Thank you. Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing this morning? Let's try that again. Good morning, everyone. There we are. There we're live. Okay, perfect. So thank you, Kerry. As he said, my name is Angelika Keane, and I work with the University of Florida IFAS Extension office. I'm talk to you a little bit about the program that we're going to have in August. But before I do that, I kind of wanted to talk today about mental well-being, but specifically this lens of self-care. But before I dive into self-care, who can tell me what is mental health? By the way, I'm a very engaging instructor, which means you guys have to talk to me. So what is mental health? When I say that word, what comes to mind? What do you guys think of? Your mind. Yes, your mind well-being. What else? Strength, yeah, strength for sure. What else? Yes. Healthy relationships for sure. What else? Your focus for yes. Anything else that you guys think of? Yeah. Yes, your mood and how you react, for sure. So mental health really is at its core just your mind health. So it encompasses all the things that you guys mentioned. So how we feel, how we think, and how we react, okay? And so when people start thinking about their mental health, it becomes this really broad, big discussion with diagnoses and all sorts of things and complications and clinicals and all that. And yes, that is a part of it. But I want to simplify it way down today. I want to talk to you about one aspect of your mental health, and that is your self-care, okay? So before I dive into it, the University of Florida is an equal opportunity organization, which means we are open to all. Everybody see that? Nod and smile for the camera. Thank you. Okay, so let's talk about self-care. When I say the word self-care, what comes to mind? Yes. Having everything balanced. Ooh, wasn't that a lovely dream? I would love that too. That would be self-care. Okay, what else? What else comes to mind? Okay, your hygiene. Yep. What else? Massages. Yes. What else? Diet. Mm-hmm. Healthy routines. Yes. Anybody have anything else? Your doggies. Yes. Our pets, our animals, our loved ones, for sure. Anything else? What? Confidence. Yes. All of that. Good. I like that you guys have listed kind of a variety, because self-care in its core, its definition, is just simply how we take care of ourselves. A lot of times people overcomplicate it with usually when I give these presentations, I hear things like someone says vacations, which is true, valid, self-care for sure, but they just start listing the avoidance things, the massages, the step away, the big, large things that people think about. And so what really self-care, really all it is just this simple habit of checking in on yourself. So I want everybody to do this activity with me. I want everybody to go ahead, sit up straight. Sit up straight. Take a big deep breath. Inhale and exhale. One more. Inhale and exhale. How do you feel? Anybody feel their shoulders drop? Guess what? You guys just practiced self-care. You're done. We're done for the day. No, I'm kidding. Okay? It can be that simple. But what's amazing about self-care is there is science behind it. I know this is something everybody talks about, or you hear influencers be like, bubble baths in the 10-step skincare routine. And, insert whatever. You all have seen those TikToks. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. Or your grandkids have showed you those TikToks, right? But there is actually science behind self-care. This act of taking care of yourself helps reduce stress. It helps reduce exhaustion. It helps your cognitive mind and function, your ability to problem solve. And it has a lot of physical benefits as well with this aspect of helps prevent chronic disease or eliminate or work like the symptoms type of things. It has a really long impact. And for seniors especially, how many of you guys have spent your whole life taking care of somebody else? I should see everybody's hand up, even the vendors. Come on, put your hand up because you take care of somebody. And then how often do you actually pause and take the time to take care of yourself? Right? Mornings. Love it. Yep, mornings. Good. Right? But for most of us, it's something that we think about that we're going to do when the appointments are done, when this activity has occurred, after this surgery or presentation or person gets taken care of or whatever it may be. We push it off because that's kind of what we've been trained to do. We've been trained to think that taking care of ourselves is selfish. How many of you guys have ever heard that statement? Or have felt that? I should see everybody shake their head. Because, yep. Right? But it's not. It's not selfish. It's not. And so it is just your way of recognizing that you have to take care of yourself because you have to take care of yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally. And we're pretty good at the physical aspects of things, but we're not as good at the mental and emotional and spiritual side of things. And that's what we're going to dive into today specifically. But how do we know when we need this self-care? Sorry, I found my line of where I'm allowed to walk. So how do we know we need the self-care? We know we need it when you start to get those signs or symptoms, the things like irritability or tired. And I don't mean we wake up and we're tired, because how many of you guys are morning people? Okay. How many of you guys hate mornings? And how many are like, I could take them or leave them? Right? Okay, good. It's a good mix. Like I always say, I hate mornings. Loathe them. Like despise them. Like nothing should ever, like I should not be awake before 10 a.m. In my dream world, this would start at like noon and, work doesn't work that way, right? But so I don't mean tired or frustration or exhaustion because, I hate mornings. I mean that deeper where you're just like, things are hard. It's been rough. That's when we need to start to recognize. But what happens is if we wait till we're exhausted to try to practice self-care, it's almost too late. So what we want to learn to do is recognize the signs and symptoms earlier. The idea, yes? Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. So what he said, for those of you guys that couldn't hear, was he talked about in his professional life that he learned this throughout his career, that a lot of times when you first get into an activity, a problem, or whatever you're faced with, you want to do, and then you hit a point where you can't remember. And what he learned, and thank you for sharing, was the fact that just kind of stepping away and sleeping on it meant the next day, the idea comes. How many of you guys have ever had that, where you walk away from a problem and all of a sudden you're like, oh, there it is. Even with your games. Sometimes anybody play mind games or puzzles or anything like that, and you're looking for that last piece and you're staring at it, and then you walk away to go cook and you come back and you're like, oh, it's there. And you're like, I spent hours doing that, right? Because we took the time to practice the self-care. So it really matters for seniors because you guys are at a point in your life where taking care of yourself isn't something that you can ignore. When you always say the youth is wasted on the young, how many years? Yep. Right? Because they don't know. They don't know what they don't know. You guys know now that care is important and you're taking it. And so we need to prioritize the time of not just our physical health that you guys do a great job with. Doing to your doctor's appointments, checking in, coming to things like this are all important things, but we got to take care of our mental health too. So I want you guys to think of your mental health like a cup. And I want you to pause for just a second and check in with yourself. How are you feeling today? Is your cup full, half full, 3/4 of the way, or completely empty? What do you guys think? Turn to your neighbor, share. What do you think? Where are you? Okay, yep, perfect. So when I think about it like a cup, it's the idea of when it's full, you have all the liquid to pour out, right? When it's half full, you only have half the amount of liquid. When it's 3/4 of the way, you have that. And when it's empty, you have nothing left to pour out. You have nothing left to consume. You have nothing left to drink. Think about it when you first buy your coffee. Is anything better than that first sip? Right? Does it ever get better? Absolutely not. Okay, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just weird about that. But it never gets better. And then you get to the bottom of the drink. How many of you guys ever had that? And it's all sugar and you're like, right? Same idea. I want you guys to think about your mental health. When you've got all that support, you're worrying things, you're at your top, then you've got the capacity to support people, share, etc. When you're drained and you have nothing left, there's nothing left to give. Right? So keeping that kind of analogy in mind, there are always things that are going to fill our cup, that are going to help support us, and then there are things that are going to drain us. So what I want you guys to do is turn to your neighbor or your friends, turn around, and come up with 3 things that fill your cup. That's what we're going to discuss first. So 3 things that fill your cup, just share. And then the second part is 3 things that drain you. Okay, go. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That is a good question. We are going to kind of get into that later. We're going to get a little further into that, but I will talk about that when we talk about this after this activity. So, good question. Yeah. All right. So, continuing on, what are 3 things that you guys, just anybody willing to share? What were 3 things that you guys came up with? And you don't have to name all 3, but just give me one. Something that fills your cup. Anticipation, that excitement of things to come, for sure. What else? What else fills your cup? Quality time with friends and family, for sure. I saw your hand in the back.
My 3 things are prayer, music, and travel.
Prayer, music, and travel. Okay, excellent. Anybody have anything else? What? Fur babies. Yes, our pets, for sure. Okay, what about things that drain our cup? Or, yeah, if you want to say, Phil, go ahead.
I was going to say one more good thing.
Yeah. Food, yes. Me too. I love to eat. Absolutely. Okay, what about things that drain our cup? Income tax. Yes. That whole process, right? Absolutely. Okay, what else? Yeah. Overcommitting. Yes. Paying bills. Right? Okay. What? Housework, definitely. Oh, housework. I love my home, but whoo, if it could just magically clean itself. Okay, what else? Problems with the house? Yeah. Getting family out of the house, right? Yep. Family in the house can be a blessing, but there's also a time where you're like, nope. For sure, right? Overstayed your welcome. Sometimes even our fur babies, sometimes even our positive things like our fur babies, can they also add stress and drain? Sick dogs, I'm sorry. Patience, yep. vet bills, all the things. So the idea about self-care is, it is not, okay, it is not the idea of this avoidance of responsibilities, okay? I want to clear up a couple things. Self-care is not the avoidance of responsibilities. It's not adding another to-do list, because that was one of the questions that this gentleman asked earlier, was how do you know? Well, you know when you're recognizing the fact that, things just don't feel right. Sometimes it's a mental thing, sometimes it's a physical thing, sometimes it's an emotional thing, but you check in. So it's not adding a checklist, or it's not adding on to you, or it's not avoiding the responsibilities. It's this idea of recognizing that these small incremental moments can make a huge impact in your life. That's what self-care really is it's not big grand gestures. Yes, vacations are amazing and a form of self-care, for sure. But are they also a drain? Because you've got the planning and the responsibility and the coming up with money. And then when you're on the cruise, like I'll promote the cruise that you guys have potentially, right? And when you're on the cruise, it's delightful. It's amazing. And then you come back and you're like, oh, reality's still here. Right? It's not the avoidance. What it is what can you do in the moment? Self-care breaks down into 4 ways. And the question becomes, what can you do in the moment to make yourself feel better? Into that example where I had you guys take a deep breath in and out. Do it again. Everybody, breathe in and out. Right? Just that quick. What did that take? Less than 30 seconds? That's what self-care is what can we incorporate into our daily lives, which includes vacations and trips and promotions and all of that. But on day-to-day tasks and day-to-day things, it's what can we include. So how many of you guys get up in the morning and have a morning routine? Okay. Somewhat, kind of. And maybe it's not morning, maybe it's afternoon, maybe it's evening, whatever time you wake up. That's a thing. In that morning routine, how many of you guys ask yourself, how am I doing today? Kind of, maybe. How many of you guys start your day and go, what do I have to do today? Right? Okay, so we all go, what do I have to do today? Right? We all instantly start on the to-do list. I challenge you guys to pause for just a second, and before you go into the to-do list, ask yourself, how am I doing today? Because if you're feeling well, strong, healthy, accomplishing that to-do list becomes a lot easier, right? Versus maybe you're not feeling so great. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you didn't sleep well, having tummy problems, maybe insert whatever it is. But if you know you're not doing as well and you still want to accomplish that to-do list, how many of you guys get frustrated when you don't get it done, right? Versus if you had checked in with yourself and said, how am I doing today? I'm not feeling that great. So maybe instead of having a 20-page to-do list, I'm an overachiever, you have a 5 to-do list or 10. And now all of a sudden you feel accomplished because you were able to manage what you talked about. So I challenge you guys to make it simple and check in with yourself. So how are we going to do that? It breaks down into 4 different dimensions: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So physical is just what it sounds like. It's what you eat. It's how much sleep you get. It's moving your body. It's taking a sip of water. How many of you guys have had water today? You know what? Yes, I will say water and coffee counts. I'm going to challenge you to actually drink water without going through the brown filter. Yes, exactly. But how many of you guys have had just plain water? Right? A few. How many of you are like, nope, I don't even think about it? Little things like just sips of water can make a huge impact. Things like Tai Chi that we're going to do later. Absolutely, for that movement. Find that movement of something you enjoy. So I'm not going to guide you through. I usually do a movement activity, but I don't have to today because we have Tai Chi. So she's going to take care of us that for us. But let's talk about mental. Mental is this idea of connecting to your mind, like we talked about. And some of the ways to do that in a practical manner are things like unplugging. Now, I understand that you can't just simply unplug your brain, but like your example of sleeping, did you know that that's what's happening? Your brain is shifting and you're sleeping and you're kind of resetting everything back to factory setting. The analogy I always use is you wouldn't use your phone all day and not expect the battery to die, right? You know you have to charge your phone every night. Everybody know that? Or whatever it is, your phone, your watch, whatever, you have to charge it, you have to plug it in. It's the same idea with our brains. We have to do something to let ourselves recharge, okay? So that could be setting clear boundaries. So that can look like something like paying attention to not overcommitting yourself, making sure that if you're saying yes to something that you really want to do. And here's some very powerful words. No is a complete sentence. Try it with me, everyone. No. Say it again with passion. No. No is a complete sentence. Now, I'm not saying no being rude, like as in like, I have some family members, y'all know who I'm talking about, and you're like, blah, 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 blah. No. Okay, I would love to tell you to do that. Don't do that. That's not about, I would love to tell you that that's the way the world works. You're like, you're annoying. No. I'm not saying to be rude. That is not the point of this. But it is to recognize that when you say you have to deal with somebody frustrating, that you're going to give them 10 minutes, and then you're going to excuse yourself politely, right? That's an appropriate boundary. Or it could look like something like, how many of you guys have your cell phone where you keep it in your room? Right? Have your cell phone and keep it in your room, right? Maybe you put it in the living room. Looks like that. Maybe it's something like you put it in the living room so you can still get it to it, or the bathroom. You can still get it to if you need it, like it's there in case you fall or you need something, but it's not right next to you, right? That's a simple what I mean by like moving away. Or how many of you guys know that you get up every single morning and you're like, get right on, like we talked about that to-do list. You get right on that to-do list. Maybe it's something as simple as you check in with yourself like we talked about, and then you're going to say, before I tackle my to-do list, I'm going to do one thing for myself. One thing. Okay? What's an example of one thing you could do in that few minutes for yourself? What could you guys think of? Start the coffee pot. Yes! Yes! This is the realistic examples. And then enjoy the smell for just a second, right? Don't just start the coffee pot and then run around. And then part of the joy of coffee is the way it smells. Or maybe that's just me. How many of you guys like the smell of coffee? Yes. I like it more than I drink it. I love the smell of it. And then I drink it. I'm like, oh, you never taste as good as you smell. And I'm disappointed every time. But I still drink it, right? Okay, what else can you do? Wash your face. Brush your teeth. Yep. Shave. Yeah, shave. Yep. Right. What else can you do? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. So if you guys didn't hear her, she said she sets the coffee pot the night before so that when she wakes up, it's like somebody made the coffee for her. Right? So we have to do a lot of these things anyway. We know we have to wash our face, we have to brush our teeth, but how many of you guys pause when you do it to feel the cold water on your face and go, oh, that's refreshing? Or maybe you're somebody that likes hot water and you're like, oh, that feels so clean, right? It's this little act of paying attention to these small things. That's all self-care is. That's all it is the things we're going to do anyway. It's just finding the joy in them, okay? And then sometimes you also have to actually do something to kind of help support your mental health. And there are different activities. So how many of you guys ever have that where you get stuck in racing thoughts? Where your mind is just going and going and going and you're stuck on one thought, right? So there is a grounding exercise that I want to guide you through. And this is a good one because this can be done in a quick 30 seconds. And it's something that you can do anywhere. And it goes like this. So you're not going to answer me. I just want you to think about it. So I want you to look around the room and find 5 things that you can see that are blue. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. 4 things that you can touch or feel. So 4 things that you can feel. So that could be your clothes, that could be your feet on the ground, that could be your tush on the chair, could be how your shoulders are feeling. 4 things that you can feel. Okay. 3 things that you can hear. So that could be my lovely voice, or annoying, depending on how you think about it. I'm cool either way. Okay. Could be the sound of the air conditioning. But 3 things that you can hear. 2 things that you can smell. So if you have something or you know you're wearing good perfume, you can check it, kind of thing. This is also a great armpit check time. How do I smell? Did I put deodorant on? Right? Now the last is 1 thing that you can taste. So if you have a snack, you can go ahead and take a bite, or if you have a coffee, you can drink it. But if you don't have anything, that's okay. Just roll kind of your tongue around in your mouth. And what does your mouth taste like? Okay. What did you guys notice as we were going through that activity? Yes. Yeah. We were working through all 5 senses, for sure. Absolutely. What else? The to-do list was gone, right? How many of you guys weren't thinking about multiple things, but were actually paying attention to what I was asking you guys to do in that exact moment, right? Right? We were focused. You were in the moment, right? How long? I gave a little longer, but could you do that in the morning when you check in? How am I feeling today? Check my 5 senses, right? You can do that in a quick 30 seconds. But what that does to your brain is it actually calms your brain down. If you're stuck in that cycle of like, I have to do this, but I don't know if I have enough time, or insert whatever worry, or I have the surgery coming up, and you're in that loop, that worry loop as I call it, by working through your 5 senses, it tells your brain that you're okay, that you're safe, and that it allows it to reset. Kind of like the analogy of a computer. When you first have a computer problem in the history of your life, what does IT always tell you to do? Unplug it, right? Unplug it and plug it back in. That's their first suggestion. I want to be like, it's a whole other presentation. No, I'm kidding. But, right, they tell you to turn it off and turn it back on, right? Now, you can't just simply turn off your thoughts and turn them back on, but what you can do is direct them. And that's what that working through your senses activity does. And it doesn't have to be blue. It can be whatever color you want, but it's just 5 things you can see, 4 things that you can feel, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 that you can taste. And if you get those wrong, guess what? It doesn't matter. If you're like, I want 5 things I can taste, no judgment. Sample 5 snacks, right? It's just the idea of working through those senses is going to kind of reset. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about emotional. So you've got the emotional self-care, the emotional, and this is kind of how are you feeling? How are you? What's going on? What is the reaction? Is how many of you guys have ever felt guilt? Right? I'm not doing enough. There's too much to do, right? And you get stuck in that guilt cycle, right? Right? So one of the things that I get asked all the time is, what do you do about guilt? You just feel it. You just feel it, right? Now, how many of you guys have ever felt joy? Yes, I should see everybody's hand, right? Can I ask you a question? Can you feel guilt and joy at the same time? Yes, good job, everybody. So this idea of this emotional self-care is not saying that one emotion is better or worse than the other. It's to recognize that whatever you're feeling is valid, okay? And there's all sorts of therapy practices and all sorts of other stuff, but none of this is for diagnosis or treatment. So we're not going to go into that. But what I want you guys to understand is that it is okay to recognize that whatever you're feeling is. So that's part 1 in self-care, but also to recognize that there are little things that you can do to also change the way you're feeling. So we have 2 activities. I want you guys to do this one with me. Okay. What I want you to do is raise your hands above your head as high as you can. So as high as you're comfortable. Put them up as high as you can. Okay. And then just go, yes, yes, yes. Okay. Drop them down. Now, we're going to do it again. I want you to raise them up, and as you're raising them up, go yes, yes, yes at the same time. Ready? Yes, yes, yes. How do you feel? Right? 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 How many of you guys kind of start smiling? Right? Okay, so I share that one because that's a quick, maybe you're anxious, maybe you're stressed, maybe you don't know what to do. That's a quick, I know it seems silly, maybe do it in your car, not in a waiting room, but you know what? More power too if you do it in a waiting room. No shame, no game. But it quickly shifted just that moment, right? So we have another activity we're going to do, and this is one of my favorites. So you're going to take your hands, hold on. I'll pick it back up in a second, but do this. Okay, make a little fist. Okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to keep your hands up in little fists. What we're going to do is we are going to laugh 10 times, okay? Because your brain does not know the difference between a real laugh and a fake laugh. And we'll talk about why in just a second, but just go. Ready? Exactly. Ha ha. Thank you for setting us up solidly. I appreciate that. But great job. How many of you guys started out with a fake laugh and by the end was almost into a genuine one? Right? How do you feel about that now? How do you feel now? Lighter, right? A sense of ease, joy. And what's amazing about that is that's a little thing that they call laughter yoga. And it's this idea of that your brain can't distinguish the difference between a fake laugh and a real laugh once it gets started. Yes, you can recognize a fake laugh when someone goes, oh. I don't mean that. I mean your own laugh. Your brain will send the signals like as if your laughter was real. And so, yes, you can recognize other people's fake laugh, but your brain responds, whether it's a real laugh or a fake laugh, the same way. So in those moments, sometimes it's just that quick moment of, you know what, I just need a good laugh. And you're like, nothing's funny. That's okay. Just start trying to laugh 10 times, and by the end, you'll be laughing. Because your brain will give that same dopamine flood, serotonin, all of that. Your brain can't distinguish the difference. So these are like small little incremental practices that you can add in to change how you feel in those moments. But again, sometimes self-care is also like, this is really stressful. I need a good cry. And that is okay too. I don't have exercises to make you cry because that's never fun in a presentation because sobbing people... Right? It doesn't. I'm so glad you understand the predicament. He said it doesn't help with makeup. You are so right. No. But sometimes, though, you just need a good cry. For me, I know when I need a good cry, I turn on a movie that's going to make me cry. And that's what helps me. Because sometimes it's just, what? What movie is that? That is The Notebook. I cried that one every time. Doesn't matter how many times I watch it. The Notebook. I'm like, whoa. The Notebook. The Notebook, yeah. Yep, The Notebook. Yep. Right? But we shouldn't apologize for crying. All it is stress leaving our body. Just like the laughter made us feel lighter, sometimes a good cry can also make you feel lighter, right? But in a different sort of way. So it's just recognizing all emotional self-care is just recognizing how am I feeling and what do I need, okay? Mental self-care, it's how is my mind, what am I thinking about, what's spinning around in there, and what do I need? Physical, how am I feeling physically, what do I need? That's all self-care is. We overcomplicate it so much with these elaborate checklists, but it's just this quick, what's going on, what do I need? And then the last one is spiritual, and I think I'm getting close on time. Okay, and the last one is spiritual, and spiritual can mean a lot of different things to a lot of people. It can be prayer, absolutely, and if that is what spiritual means to you, that is valid and strong and all that. It doesn't have to mean that, okay? It is just this belief that there is something greater than you. That's it. So it can be in prayer, it can be in faith, it can be in practice, it can be in whatever works for you. And it's just understanding and reflecting that there is a purpose. And I don't mean that statement of this all happens for a reason, because I know in the moment when you're dealing with something, that is the least helpful statement humanly possible, right? this all happens for a reason. And you're like, I'll give you the reason. Okay, but it's just this concept of understanding that there is something bigger. Okay, and then when it comes to meditation, I hear a lot of people say, I can't meditate because my brain won't stop. Well, guess what? How many of you guys ever worry? Right? Guess what? If you know how to worry or have ever worried in your life, you are an amazing meditator. Because guess what you're doing? You are meditating. You're just meditating on whatever it is you don't want to think about. That's all it is. So yes, there's lots of deeper aspects of meditation and different things and, that kind of, but at a really simple surface level, meditation is just actively telling your brain what to think about versus your brain just deciding what you're going to think about. So in meditation and mindfulness, they do what's called an anchor. And it's not to say that your brain's not going to wander. Meditation is this act of bringing it back to what you want to think about. Okay? Just like when you worry, how many of you guys are like, oh, I'm going to distract myself. And you start playing with your dogs or doing whatever, and you're doing great, and then all of a sudden, inserts the worry again. And you're like, really? Thought I dumped you. Right? It's this idea of that you practice coming back to whatever you want to think about. So we have a little activity that we're going to do. And this will be the last one, I promise, I think. So I'm not promising. I lied. It goes like this. So it is a breathwork activity, and it is box breathing, okay? And so it is a rhythmic of the same number of inhales, holds, exhales, holds, okay? So traditionally, it's to the count of 4, but if you don't like 4, if that's too short, you can go longer, or if that's too long, you can do shorter. It's whatever works for you, but it's the same number. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and guide us through. So I want everybody to just take a deep breath. Inhale and exhale. And then we're going to inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. Now keep going, but on your count. Okay, go ahead and finish whatever cycle you're on, and just take a normal breath in and out. How do you feel after that activity? Yes, sleepy, relaxed, right? Now everybody's like, it is nap time, right? So we've gone through activities to kind of make us feel lighter. We've gone through activities that bring us joy. We've gone through an activity that kind of calms us. We've gone through an activity to kind of center our mind. And we did all that. Each one of those activities was under 2 minutes. That's what I want you guys to understand about self-care. Self-care isn't selfish. Let's jump right ahead to myths. It isn't selfish. It's something that you guys have to do. And the analogy that they always use is the flight attendant. How many of you guys have ever heard that one before? Yep. For those of you that haven't, on an airplane, they always tell you to put your oxygen mask on first. Why? Because if you pass out, you're no good to anybody else. Exactly. So that's the idea of self-care. It isn't selfish. It's the exact opposite. If you're not paying attention to how you're thinking, how you're feeling, and we do a better job of it physically. Like we know if we're feeling something physically, we know we need to rest. How many of you guys, when you get sick, you're like, I'll stay home, right? Some people push through, but most people will stay home and do something, okay? It's the same thing kind of idea as checking in yourself mentally. How are you feeling mentally? How are you feeling emotionally? How are you feeling spiritually? Those are the other 3 realms I want you guys to check on, okay? I don't have time. Yes, you do. because we just did quick examples. Are you going to drink that coffee anyway? Well, guess what? Then you have time. Just take a moment and taste your coffee. Appreciate it. Guess what? You just practice self-care. Turning it on the night before. I love that example. Turning it on the night before is a simple act of, yes, it makes the morning routine easier, which means that's just a form of self-care. That's all it is. It's these little tweaks. Laying out whatever clothes you want to wear the night before if you are a person with indecision or you don't like mornings or whatever that might be. Okay, and the last one is I have to do it all. Is that true? Okay, I've heard no. I've heard unless you're a perfectionist. Is that true? Do you really actually do it all? No. At no point do you actually do all. Right? It doesn't say all my to-do lists. It says all. Right? And even if it did say all my to-do lists, chances are there's a component of another person within that. Right? So you're not doing it alone. And that's what I want you guys to take away with that, is that you guys aren't doing this alone. And even if you are alone, there are places like this, the Senior Resource Center, that can help you. So you don't have to do it alone. And just even using the resources that are available to you is a form of self-care. Knowing what they are, using them, guess what? You practice self-care. So it's this idea of paying attention to these small incremental moments. So how do we put it into day-to-day practice? Start small. Think of your homework assignment is to think of one thing, and then I want you to turn and share to your neighbor, but one thing you can do for yourself this week. One thing. One simple act. Turn to your neighbor, share what it is. Come on. Mm-hmm. Nope, just you. Not for somebody else. Nope, no. Just you. Okay. Anybody willing to share what their one thing they're going to do for just themselves? Yes. Your yoga practice. Yes. Yoga practice. Wouldn't that be nice, though, if you could work out and gave benefits to other people? So all those people that love to work out, you'd be like, look, 10 points for me over here. Right? It doesn't work that way. Right? Okay, great. What else? What's one thing? Swimming. Yes, for sure. Take advantage of her Tai Chi. Yes, thank you. Absolutely. Stick around and practice. Right? What else? Mm-hmm. Okay, pick up a pizza on the way home rather than messing up the kitchen. Absolutely. Love it. Okay. Yes, perfect. And again, understanding that it's support that's going to help you, just like that picking up of that pizza, absolutely on board with that. It's this idea that it's not a luxury, okay? You matter. And how we pay attention to our mental health is just this simple action of checking in. How do I feel physically? Is our physical health. How do I feel mentally, emotionally, and spiritually is our mental health. Don't overcomplicate it. Just check in. How do I feel? And then what do I need? That's all it is. How do I feel? What do I need? So I've given you 2 resources. Thank you and questions. I've given you 2 things that I want to talk about. Now that we have spent a whole class, okay, in case you forget, I gave you a whole self-care checklist ideas. This is not to mean I want you to do it in a month and check them all off. Nope, it's not a to-do list. I'm looking at you. No. It is just some simple ideas, okay? Some very simple practices and things that you can put into place if you're interested, or maybe it's something you haven't tried before. The other pamphlet I gave you is talking about, so today's presentation, we talked specifically about how to support our own mental health. This class talks about how to support others' mental health. Okay, so it's mental health first aid. So there is a registration. because it's a full day training with 2 hours of online pre-coursework. So please note there is online component that you do have to do and is required because you end up with a national certification at the end of this. But the idea behind this is, how do you support someone else? And I mean support somebody else all the way through they're just having a bad day to a crisis situation such as like suicidal thoughts, substance misuse, depression, anxiety, and everything in between. Okay? Because we're not taught how to recognize our own emotions, and we're definitely not taught how to support others, right? That's what this class is. And I would like everybody to understand that this class is, if you didn't walk in a clinical, you're not walking out a clinical. So it is not to train you to be a therapist. It's more for the general population. For example, how many of you guys know CPR first aid, right? Did that make you a doctor? No. This isn't going to make you a licensed clinical professional either. But what CPR did do, what did it do? Credit? Yeah, for sure. Okay. Yeah, it helped you know what to do in emergency. It helped you know how to react, how to connect. It gave you the tools. It's the same idea, but now looking at it from the perspective of mental. What do we do when someone's having a bad day? What do we do when someone's feeling anxious? What do we do when someone's expressing suicidal thoughts or ideation? What do we do? What do we say? How do we help? That's what this class teaches you. So I encourage you, if you're interested, to scan that QR code and register. But before I hand it over to Kerry, does anybody have any questions? Yes?
I wish you would address reactions. Like if somebody says something and you can feel the blood, go up,
Mm-hmm.
and you're ready to pounce. And I used to be extremely bad at this,
Mhm.
when I was in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Actually broken.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And I've gotten better, but is there some kind of ritual or routine or something you can say to yourself before you react? Because
Mhm.
it's hard for me to go to that
Mhm.
place, and I need something concrete.
Okay. So her question was, when you feel your body start to get super frustrated and overwhelmed and very reactionary, what can you do? Well, I can't answer what specifically you can do because there's a lot of different things you can do. There's things like you can scream into a pillow. There are things like those stress balls, squeezing those. I sometimes imagine my enemy's head. Pop! Right. Nope, I'm with you. So I can't, like I said, there's lots of different things you could do. What I'm going to say and what research shows is one of the best things that you can do when that person is standing in front of you is take a deep breath. Like we just did. Do it with me again. Inhale. Exhale. Take a deep breath, because what's happening, and I do a whole stress presentation on that, and that's my stress class. This was self-care. They're connected, but stress, we dive deeply into what's happening in your body when you get stressed and how to regulate. This was more overarching, so I'm not going to dive too far into it, but what research does is taking that deep breath is one of those tangible things you can do in the moment to help support. Any other questions? Yes, and I'm happy to come back and do a stress class.
I think we have you scheduled to come back and do a stress. I'll have to check the date, but I think we do.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Angelika. Angelika Keane. Told you it was going to be great. Thank you.
Sorry.
So we're going to take a break here in just a moment. We'll take a quick break because we want to kind of stay